Imagine a serene, secluded island nestled off the coast of Japan. Here, a remarkable truth unfolds. People don't merely live, they truly thrive well into old age. This isn't folklore, it's a verifiable phenomenon. Nearly 1 in 10 residents on this special place celebrates their 100th birthday and beyond. Their secret isn't found in modern medicine or the latest Western dietary trends. It's not about calorie counting or macro tracking. Instead, their longevity is deeply rooted in a simple daily ritual. This ritual involves consuming a particular plant. It graces their soups and infuses their teas. It forms the heart of dishes, passed down through generations. This plant holds a vibrant secret within its veins. When you cut into a leaf, it doesn't weep clear water or milky white sap. Instead, a striking, brilliant golden yellow liquid emerges. It is as vivid as turmeric, a color so bold it feels ancient. Remarkably, if you harvest a leaf at dawn, a fresh one unfurls by the next morning. The Japanese recognize this incredible vitality, naming it fittingly Ashitaba. Ashitaba translates to tomorrow's leaf. It contains a compound unlike any other found in nature. This unique messenger prompts your body's cells to perform an essential deep clean. It's like an internal system for waste removal. It meticulously clears out damaged components. This happens before they can evolve into conditions we often accept as inevitable. These include ailments like cancer, Alzheimer's, or chronic disease. Back in 2016, a team of European scientists unveiled scientific validation. This research supported the ancient wisdom of Ashitaba. They discovered that Ashitaba's compound extended the lifespan of yeast cells. It also extended the lifespan of fruit flies and even worms. It did so by triggering a profound cellular process known as autophagy. Autophagy is the very same self-cleansing mechanism activated through fasting. The profound difference here is, you don't have to fast. You simply consume the Ashitaba leaf. The longest living people on Earth have understood this for over 3 centuries. They didn't need published studies or academic validation. They simply continued their lives, flourishing generation after generation. Yet, here lies a perplexing truth. You won't find this fresh plant readily available in many parts of the world. Certainly not in most American grocery stores. Regulatory bodies, like the FDA, haven't granted it any specific health claims. Most Americans have never even encountered its name, Ashitaba. Tomorrow's leaf is cherished daily by the Earth's most enduring communities. Yet, it remains virtually unknown to so many. This isn't a random oversight. The story of Ashitaba's journey is one shaped by isolation and circumstance. Its origins trace back to Hachijo Island. This isolated volcanic outpost rises 290 kilometers south of Tokyo. It is a forgotten speck in the vast Philippine Sea with its mineral-rich soil, relentless winds, and high humidity. Other crops often spoiled. Historically, this island was a place of banishment. For centuries, the Japanese government exiled criminals, political dissidents, and troublesome nobles to Hachijo. Their intent was for them to suffer and fade into oblivion. But something unexpected happened. These exiles discovered a resilient plant, flourishing wild amidst the rugged volcanic cliffs. It thrived where almost nothing else could. It grew with such vigor that cutting it back only encouraged more robust growth. Faced with scarcity, they began to eat it. Soon, they noticed a profound change. They stopped falling ill as often, not miraculously or completely, but in a way that was undeniably measurable. The exiles of Hachijo Island outlived their peers on the mainland. They outlived their guards. They even outlived the emperors who had condemned them to this distant shore. Word of this extraordinary plant began to spread. By the Edo period, Ashitaba transcended its role as mere survival food. It became revered as medicine. Samurai consumed it for stamina before battle. Mothers administered it to their children to ward off sickness. Farmers chewed its stems for energy during the grueling harvest season. An 18th century shogun, convinced of its potency, mandated its cultivation on the mainland. He strictly controlled its export. He feared rival clans might gain access to such a strategic and powerful resource. The plant was protected. The plant was power. Then came the aftermath of World War II. Occupying forces initiated a comprehensive restructuring of Japanese food systems. Traditional foods gradually lost their prominence. Western agricultural practices were actively promoted. Within a single generation, Ashitaba receded from the mainland's memory. It retreated once more to the distant islands. The mainland forgot, but the islands, they remembered. Today, regions like Hachijo and Okinawa boast the highest concentrations of centenarians. Consistent consumption of Ashitaba endured in these regions. Okinawa alone reports 5 times as many individuals over 100 years old per capita. This is 5 times more than the entire United States. They didn't achieve this through pharmaceuticals or synthetic supplements. Their longevity stems from a simple, unbroken tradition. They continue to eat what their great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents ate. A plant that bleeds yellow. A plant that regenerates overnight. A plant that, for most Americans, remains an unknown taste. In 2016, researchers at the University of Graz in Austria embarked on a quest. They aimed to pinpoint Ashitaba's unique qualities. They already knew the plant was incredibly nutrient-dense. It contained vitamin B12, a rarity in plant form. Its chlorophyll levels surpassed spirulina. It also contained antioxidants rivaling blueberries. But while other plants offered vitamins and antioxidants, Ashitaba possessed something truly distinct. They found it nestled within its golden yellow sap. It was a flavonoid compound named 4,4-phet-dimethoxycalcone, or DMC for short. This particular flavonoid had never been detected in any other food scientists had ever tested. When DMC was introduced to yeast cells, those cells experienced extended lifespans. When fruit flies were fed DMC, they too lived longer. The same remarkable effect was observed in roundworms. Roundworms are organisms frequently utilized in aging research for decades. In every single instance, the underlying mechanism was identical. DMC triggered autophagy. Autophagy is your body's innate cellular recycling program. It meticulously removes damaged proteins. It repairs malfunctioning mitochondria. It purges compromised components before they can accumulate and lead to disease. It's the profound process behind the health benefits of fasting. It's also the reason caloric restriction extends lifespan in laboratory animals. Crucially, DMC activated this vital process without requiring fasting. It did so without caloric restriction and without hunger. The researchers published their groundbreaking findings in Nature Communications. This is one of the world's most esteemed scientific journals. The title was precise. The flavonoid 4,4-phet-dimethoxycalcone promotes autophagy-dependent longevity across species. In simpler terms, this humble plant empowers cells to clean out their own waste. Organisms that consume it live longer. This wasn't anecdotal folk medicine. This was rigorously peer-reviewed, replicated, and published science. But the story doesn't end there. Studies conducted in Japan indicate that Ashitaba chelonase can suppress tumor growth in laboratory settings. Research emerging from Korea revealed that compounds within the plant help reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. A 2019 study even linked regular consumption to a reduction in inflammatory markers. These are the same markers associated with heart disease. They are also associated with diabetes and Alzheimer's. The data exists. The studies exist. The science exists. So why has this knowledge remained so obscured? Why isn't Ashitaba heralded in every pharmacy? Why isn't it found in every grocery store? Why isn't it recommended by every doctor who champions preventative health? The answer, surprisingly, is not complex. It's fundamentally about economics. Consider how food regulation works in America. A company can sell a food if it's generally recognized as safe, GRAS status. Traditional foods often receive this status automatically. However, novel foods demand extensive testing, detailed documentation, and official approval. Ashitaba has been safely consumed in Japan for over 300 years. But in America, it's considered novel and foreign. Thus, it requires rigorous proof of safety. Who bears the cost for this proof? Not the government, but the company seeking to market it. Pursuing full FDA approval for a new food ingredient can cost anywhere from $1 million to $5 million. This encompasses clinical trials, safety documentation, compliance reviews, and legal fees. Ashitaba fundamentally is a plant, and you cannot patent a plant. Any company investing millions to prove Ashitaba's safety would open the market for competitors. Competitors could sell the exact same thing without incurring initial costs. In such a scenario, no one will pay. Consequently, Ashitaba remains in a state of regulatory limbo. You can sometimes purchase it as a dietary supplement, but no health claims are permitted on the label. You might find powdered Ashitaba imported from Japan. It is sometimes curiously labeled not for human consumption to sidestep FDA scrutiny. But you cannot buy it fresh. You won't find it in the produce aisle, and you certainly won't see advertisements proclaiming its profound benefits. Meanwhile, the pharmaceutical industry generates a staggering $480 billion annually in the United States alone. The supplement industry adds another $50 billion. The processed food industry contributes over $1 trillion. These colossal industries derive no benefit from a simple plant you can cultivate in your own backyard. They gain nothing from a food that could prevent the very diseases they profit from treating. Consider what Ashitaba truly threatens. If a single plant can naturally trigger autophagy, it's a potent competitor. Drug companies are pouring billions into trying to replicate this process synthetically. Metformin, the diabetes medication, partly works by activating autophagy for longevity effects. Rapamycin, an immunosuppressant, also functions by activating autophagy as an anti-aging compound. Ashitaba does this naturally. Yet Ashitaba cannot be patented. Ashitaba cannot be monopolized. Ashitaba cannot generate the profit margins that justify vast pharmaceutical investment. So, the compelling research often remains tucked away in scientific journals. Most Americans will never encounter these journals. The plant stays confined to niche, specialty importers. Most Americans will never discover these importers, and the ancient knowledge remains largely locked within the island communities. These communities have cherished it for centuries. This isn't necessarily a clandestine conspiracy of malevolent forces. Rather, it illustrates a system operating precisely as designed. A system where foods that cannot be patented cannot be widely promoted. Where wisdom that cannot be monetized cannot be broadly distributed. Where the longest living people on Earth consume something daily. Most Americans have never been permitted to access this. The plant isn't illegal. The truth is more unsettling. The plant is unprofitable, and in the prevailing economic landscape, those two distinctions often merge. But here's a powerful piece of information they likely don't want you to know. You can cultivate Ashitaba yourself. This resilient plant thrives in USDA zones 7 through 10. It welcomes partial shade. Unlike many finicky garden vegetables, it actually seems to prefer a touch of benign neglect. Seeds are available from specialized suppliers. Live plants can be shipped from smaller nurseries. These operate quietly beneath the radar of mainstream commerce. A single plant can yield dozens of fresh leaves each season. Harvest today, and you can often harvest again tomorrow. The name Ashitaba isn't just poetic, it's a practical instruction. If you reside in a colder climate, Ashitaba adapts beautifully to container gardening. Simply bring it indoors for the winter months. Even a single pot on a sunny windowsill can produce enough leaves for weekly consumption. This is precisely the frequency that the centenarians of Okinawa have maintained for 3 centuries. Its taste is distinctly green and slightly bitter. It's a unique blend reminiscent of celery crossed with parsley. The Japanese enjoy it in their nourishing soups. They also lightly fry it in tempura and brew it into tea. The leaves can be dried and ground into a powder. The stems can be juiced. Every part of this plant is edible. Every part contains that vibrant yellow sap, and every part carries the very compound that Western science has now confirmed. Yet Western commerce largely overlooks this. You do not require Food and Drug Administration approval to grow a plant in your garden. You do not need pharmaceutical permission to eat a leaf that sustains life. You do not need anyone's authorization to access what the longest living humans on Earth have understood for centuries. This knowledge exists, and now it is yours. What you choose to do with it is your personal decision. Yet consider the deeper significance of that choice. Every garden planted becomes a quiet act of independence. Every seed saved represents knowledge transferred outside of established systems. Every meal you grow yourself is a meal that did not necessitate permission. It didn't generate profits for industries that often benefit from human sickness. It didn't pass through the elaborate regulatory machinery. That machinery often dictates what Americans are permitted to know. The centenarians of Okinawa didn't wait for formal approval. They didn't wait for scientific studies. They didn't wait for someone to tell them what their grandparents had already taught them. They simply ate the leaf, and they outlived everyone who did not. Tomorrow's leaf. Perhaps its name isn't solely about the plant's remarkable regeneration. Perhaps its truest meaning lies in the subtle promise it holds for our own renewal. It holds a promise for our own continued flourishing. If this information resonated with you, please consider subscribing to this channel. Do so before this video gets taken down. We explore the plants, the foods, and the forgotten wisdom. Powerful industries might prefer you never discover this wisdom. Hit the notification bell and share this with someone you believe deserves to know. This knowledge is a gift, but only if it continues to spread.